Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Thank you for watching, and this is part 4 of getting involved, and the specific topic is canvassing, which to me that's the most interactive way of getting involved and doing volunteer. Whether you're doing it to get people to vote or you're doing it for a particular candidate. As I said before, I'm not here to tell you about who to vote for or what party to support. That's up to you. But if you've never done canvassing and you're thinking about it, this is going to give you a little insight. And like I said before about phone banking, some of them may have different rules and methods, so whatever they recommend or ask you to do, then go by that. Okay, don't let what I'm saying, supersede that in any way. But, canvassing is a good way of, getting candidates' message out there. I've done it for a few times for a few candidates. And I'll give you some examples and just some of the things I did to deal with it, okay? Usually you meet at a certain location. This is for those of you who have never done it. And usually they have a bunch of brochures or pamphlets and also just a quick list of bullet points. Because there you're face to face, That's where you want to show a lot of enthusiasm. And sometimes it could be door to door, or another way is signature gathering, where either get people to sign on, either to sponsor a certain candidate, like in the primaries, or just see if they intend to vote or not. I did both, which I'll get into. Now, as far as the canvassing, that's a little more involved, because you're going door to door to house, which I've done. And usually what they do is, and again, this may vary per location, but when I did it, they did it through a specific app. They have a database of lists and addresses of specific candidates you want to go for in different areas. And it's not like you're just going randomly. And they go by a certain code number, and it sends a list of addresses on the phone. And it's pretty convenient as far as the tools. A little buggy out here. I guess they want to volunteer too. Anyhow, once you have your list, once you have all the materials, then you can get started. And you drive out to wherever the location is. Usually they go by street, and they condense all those locations that they want you to visit on that particular street, and then you just work your way down to the next street. They try and do it in a way so you're not driving around too much, that you're keeping the driving to a minimum. You're still going to be doing a lot of walking, depending, but that's just something to keep in mind, okay? Especially if it's like really hot out or if it's crummy weather. Be mindful of that. And you just go to door to door. You just say, hi, I'm such and such. Or first you ask if the person's home, obviously. And if you actually do reach that contact, and sometimes it can be multiple contacts in one location, one household. You present yourself, you say why you're here, you offer them some of the literature and ask them if they'd like to get involved. I've done it in a case where it's a candidate that's pretty well known, and usually right then and there they tell you, oh, no thank you, or I intend to support that or not. Sometimes it's a candidate they've never heard of, and that's where, you gotta get more into the presentation and just show them the literature, tell them what party they're representing, what are some of the issues that they're primarily focused on, and anything about their track record. Okay? Sometimes it's a candidate that's done a few things, which is good. This way you have a certain foundation to work on. Sometimes it's a new candidate, and you kind of got to work a little to try and sell them. This may sound really corny, but the way I've done it is, and being a huge Star Wars fan, the infamous scene when Luke Skywalker takes down a AT-AT walker, that music and everything, I kind of visualize that going in my head, because when you do it for like an hour or two, it gets a little tiresome, and you got to keep your energy going. So every time I'm walking up to that house, I'm thinking like, I'm going to go in there and somebody's going to answer the door and I'm going to be able to present myself. So it sounds silly and everything, but you got to do what you got to do to keep it going. Got a few dogs walking here. Maybe they want to volunteer too. Anyhow. Sometimes you'll ring, nobody will be there, or sometimes you'll get a person and when they see you're volunteering, they'll say the person's not home. Could they be lying? Absolutely. Unfortunately, you have no way of knowing that or not, and sometimes, like I said, people will just say they're not interested right off the bat. And you just gotta, again, be polite, be professional, and be courteous, okay? Because again, they're still people, and you gotta respect their beliefs or what their preferences are. We're not all robots, we're not all gonna agree with the same thing. But if there's a certain amount of enthusiasm involved, then you can sit down and be a little bit more engaging and talk about the candidate and try and get through to them. Usually the conversation's at the most 5 minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes tops. I've had some where I've gotten into like a 10 or 15 minute conversation, sometimes even longer with people, okay? And sometimes the person will just say, I'm busy, I don't have the time, just leave the literature in the mailbox. And that's all you can do, okay? Usually when the person's not home, they'll say like, leave a brochure or a card with the information on it in the mailbox and go right to the address. And again, it's a numbers game. The more contacts you can make, the more people you can get in touch with, the more you get the name out there. That improves their chances of, getting elected. The one thing I once did was signature gathering, face-to-face at a train station. I'm not going to say which or where. It all went smoothly, and there was one time, and I wasn't even aware of this, there was a police presence there that told us we couldn't do that. And they weren't there because of us. It turns out there was a vagrant there, and when they saw us gathering signatures, and we were doing it very professionally, very politely, not being disruptive, because, people are commuting, going to or from work, and they may not always have the time to talk. We were gathering signatures for a particular party and trying to get them to back a certain candidate, and then the police asked us to leave, which we kind of did. Now, this I don't know for sure, I'm not an expert. What I would recommend is, if you think that there might be certain rules depending on where you're doing it. It's still a public place, but like, let's say you're doing it in front of the mall. They might have rules like that. You may want to, like, let's say it's at a mall or a train station, you may want to see, look up on the website, like at a train station, see if there's a branch manager you can call or email and ask them questions about the regulations in doing that. And if it's permissible, if you run into any type of interaction with law enforcement, you always want to be professional, don't be argumentative. Have that at your disposal to say, look, we called, we asked them, it was okay, we can do this. This way you're covered. And if in the end, for whatever reason, the police say you can't do this and leave, you can try and be a little more persuasive, but if it's not getting anywhere, then just cut it loose. You don't want to get into any trouble. It's not worth it, okay? You're there for a purpose, and the purpose is not to get into any legal entanglements. So that's the one thing I would recommend. If you're doing it at a certain public spot, do a little research in advance. That was the one and only time I did that. I'd never done it before, so I didn't know what to expect. And like I said, when the police showed up, we weren't argumentative. We just asked a few questions, and we moved on. It happens, okay? No one said elections are going to be easy. But when going door to door, yeah, it's more personal. You got to interact more. And like I said before, always carry that enthusiasm. Expect rejection. It's going to be happening. Don't make it personal. And if after a while you find yourself getting tired or fizzling out, or if it's just frustrating you, I understand, especially if you've never done it before, if you're new to it. You might be a little nervous. I get it, Pull the plug. Just say, I'm tired or this and that, whatever reason. You're volunteering, you're not obligated to be there as long as they'd like you to be. Do what you can and see how many contacts you can get through to, If you have a good day and you get a lot of contacts, you get a lot of people on board, or you get a lot of signatures, that's great. If you only get a few, fine. But every little bit counts. Every amount, every volunteer initiative counts for something, So if you're canvassing and you can put some time in, that's great. If you can only put a small amount of time in, that's fine. If you're not able to at all, for whatever reason, your schedule's too packed, or it's just not your thing, you're not really a people's person, so you rather do it in other ways, that's fine as well. But if you're considering it and you're thinking about it and you have the time, I'd say give it a shot. The only way you're really going to get to know what it's like and get a feel for it is to actually do it, okay? And like I said, when it comes to getting involved, volunteer initiatives, every effort counts. It all adds up. Donations, phone banking, canvassing, it all adds up, and it can help bring about a change. It's not always a guarantee, but any chance is always better than no chance. So, and again, if you have other tips that you want to give to me, feel free to leave a comment. Or if you have other experiences that you've been through, I'd be curious to hear about it. Okay? Any suggestions? I'm always open. Okay? Be respectful, and hey, let's keep the change going. All right? Let's not give up. Thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.